At long last, we've gotten through the logistics, but that's just information. What does move-in day actually look like? In this section, I'll recount my move-in experience and show you some videos of what my day looked like. After months of careful planning and research, multiple Target trips and Amazon orders, and an absurd amount of blue storage bags, I was finally ready. I had one day for me and my parents to transport all of my stuff an hour and a half away. One day to make first impressions on my hallmates. One day to begin my transition to college life. One day to move in. But before I talk about all that, I'd like to give a very brief disclaimer that I am recounting my experience and feelings from the first day I moved in, which may not necessarily reflect how I feel about college now. Move-in is a big change, so it's no wonder I and a bunch of other people found it overwhelming. But that doesn't mean that I'm saying college sucks and you should drop out now. It just means that there's a bit of an adjustment period. Anyways, I moved into my Skyline dorm on Friday, August 16th at 11 a.m. So I was one of the first freshmen to move in, discounting all the people who paid for early move-in. As soon as I finally made up my mind to go to JMU, my mom was in panic mode. Ella, all the good stuff is gonna get bought out if we don't get our shit together right now. Ella, you need to be researching all things JMU or you're gonna die out in Harrisonburg. Ella, why aren't you in Target buying college stuff right now? Go, go, go! Love you, Mom. I turned to really reliable sources like TikTok and Reddit for advice on what I should buy. At least half the stuff I brought were things that I already had at home, but I did rack up an impressive amount of college shit that we just stuffed into the corner of the dining room. I also didn't bring that much decor when I first moved in because I figured I could worry about that later. I didn't decorate my original dorm very much, but my new roommate is an over-decorator. I took that as a personal challenge. They had an event during weeks of welcome called Poster Invasion where I bought all my decor. In the days leading up to move-in, we packed my stuff into these big blue storage bags. I also stuffed a bunch of my things in my backpack and my purse. For my clothes, my mom saw someone recommend that you hang up all your clothes and cover them with trash bags, then poke a hole through the top and stick the hangers through. It was nice because I could hang my stuff in my closet immediately so it was out of the way.
My room still looks pretty full though. Probably wouldn't be able to tell I was leaving if not for all that.
My parents were staying in Harrisonburg the whole weekend, so my grandma came up the day before I moved in to watch my sisters, and she insisted on buying me a candy stash.
Will you miss Ella?
No.
Moving in tomorrow.
And before I knew it, the day arrived. I spent the entirety of my senior year in summer dreading moving into a dorm. I thought that I would hate living with someone else and that it would be super gross and awful. But when I woke up on move-in day, I learned my first lesson of college. You can't predict shit. I woke up more excited than I'd ever felt in my life. I had this huge smile on my face as we loaded all my stuff into the car.
Yeah!
Oh.
That's okay, actually it'd be much worse if you were crying.
We were off. The drive there was very smooth and super pretty.
It's an adventure.
I hope like in a week or two it will then come crashing down on you. I'll be like, I want to go home.
You know
I
what?
want my mommy.
Sad. Yeah, but you can feel it.
Yeah, no, that was good. I don't like those kind of exits where you have to like really slow down really fast.
Damn it, then there's a stop sign.
There's a stop sign. It's so dangerous.
Once we got to JMU, there were lots of signs guiding us where to go, which was great because they forced us along this really strange route. I'm pretty sure we drove on a sidewalk at some point.
That's why they said we don't look at GPS on moving day.
Okay, so you're gonna turn right, just where they
Yeah.
go on the back side.
Okay.
We ended up parking right outside the dorm though, so it all worked out. There was a tent set up on the lawn with some frogs and apiaries. They gave me my key and a goodie bag. We weren't allowed to leave our car unattended, so my dad stayed behind while my mom and I moved my stuff. And by that I mean I moved my stuff and my mom just watched. Love you, Mom. I had one singular frog come over and help me, and she brought a couple carts for me to put about half my stuff in. My frog was very nice, and she told me that I was apparently the happiest person she'd seen all day. The elevators took 48 years because a bunch of people were moving in, but luckily I only had to go up one floor. We found my room, and when I opened the door, I was pleasantly surprised by how big the room was. I think because I was on the first floor, we had really high ceilings, so the room looked huge. A couple more frogs came by with the rest of my stuff, and me and my parents set about unpacking. First thing you do when you move into your room, look for the colored dot on your mattress. You're gonna have to fill out this thing called the room condition form, more on that later, and they're going to ask you what color the dot on your bed was, and you don't want to have to undo all your bedding to see it. Me and my roommate had planned our layout so I could move furniture around since I got there first, but I didn't end up needing to do that because the furniture was arranged differently to the floor plans, so it was already set up how we wanted it. We got my stuff mostly unpacked within a few hours.
My bed is more comfortable here than at home. I don't even want to go home anymore. Bye.
I gotta go down one, right?
If you're going in the elevator, yeah. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Oh my gosh, look at the floors. That's why you wear shower shoes. Wow. Transformation. Only downside though is I'm too short even for the ottoman to get up. I've been climbing this like a ladder. My door was open, but only the RA stopped by. My roommate arrived a few hours after me, and my parents and I went to check out their hotel so she could set up without us crowding her. Weird note, the lunch and dinner with your frog doesn't start until the second day of move-in when all the freshmen have arrived. So if you move in on the first day like I did, you're kind of on your own. My parents drove me off campus for food. If you're on East, the off-campus dining areas are absolutely walkable. And on Main, you could go downtown. I'm not 100% sure the dining halls were open for their regular hours, so make sure you have some sort of plan not to starve the first night. When my parents dropped me back off at the dorms and left, my roommate and I went around to some of the other rooms, but we're both hopeless at socializing, so it didn't really amount to anything. We went into this one room for like 2 minutes before making up an excuse to leave. Both move-in days have a mandatory RA meeting, but you only have to go to the one on your move-in day. It was low-key really awkward, and I didn't really learn anything from it, and it kind of just made me feel more lonely. Right after the RA meeting, we had our first frog meeting, which I was not in the mood for. It was dark, there were bugs, and I was starting to get sad, so I was like holding back my tears as we went around the circle and did the most excruciating icebreaker known to man. Some dumb thing where everyone had to pick a verb that started with the same letter as their name and then make a gesture, and then everyone had to repeat the gesture, and then after every new person we had to repeat all the previous people. So by the time we got to the last person, there were like 25 gestures to do. It was not it. They gave us free reign after that. Your frog could lead you to a specific event, or you could go off on your own. My roommate went somewhere, but I just went back to the dorm to cry and finish organizing my stuff. Nobody was around when I was doing all my night routine stuff, so it was great. I was a little lonely, but my roommate came back soon enough and she said she didn't even like whatever event she went to, so. And that was my move-in. We don't talk about that night. Ask your roommate if they snore, guys. I didn't really find anyone that I vibed with the first day, and that made me feel sad even though I knew it was unrealistic. This is such a cheesy, generic thing to say, but as long as you keep an open mind and a positive attitude, you'll be fine. Like, even when I was crying alone in my room, I was still excited to be here, and that powered me through the earlier weeks when I literally had to emergency switch rooms before I even started classes. So the lesson here is that your move-in experience can't possibly be worse than mine. I'm kidding. Another disclaimer, I'm only one person with one experience. Everyone is going to have a slightly different move-in story, so I talked to some different people about theirs. So when did you move in?
I moved in on August 14th, I think.
So I moved in the Wednesday, the August 14th.
I was part of Dukes Make a Difference, or DMAD.
And I moved in early because I did the Dukes Make a Difference program.
I moved in early for DMAD. It was super fun.
DMAD is a program where you do some community work in Harrisonburg before school starts and the freshmen start moving in.
I moved in on the first Friday the freshmen are supposed to move in.
So I moved in that first Friday available to move in. It was around like 1 o'clock, something like that. It was like in the afternoon.
I moved in at around 3 p.m.
I came in the morning, which was really nice, so I had the day to settle in.
How was your move-in experience?
It was kind of exhausting, mostly because my parents didn't know what they were supposed to do at first. So we kind of just argued for an hour before we got everything finally put in place.
It was amazing. Like, everyone was there, and like the frogs and like people were helping out were there. Definitely because I moved in early, it was a lot nicer because there weren't as many crowds. But as people came rolling in, like moving in, there was so many people.
We didn't have as much help as everyone else that did have regular move-in, but it was good. Like we had like 2 people, and I had all the carts to myself, which was great.
On some of the other floors there were people, so we didn't actually have too many carts.
That's so funny because I was on to Josh too, and he was like, some other people had the carts, and so we had none. So.
I had like 3 of them. Guys, it was me.
You were monopolizing the carts.
So we had to carry most of the things by hand, which, hurt my back, but we work with it.
I'm so sorry that I took your carts, Josh. Just for the record.
It took no time to get like all the stuff out of the car and into the room. It was a really great experience.
Moving the bed and all that stuff, it was relatively easy, so I'd say it went smoothly.
How did you feel about college and campus at first?
I wasn't sure about it. I didn't know where anything was. It was kind of scary.
It was definitely kind of hard to navigate. I won't lie to you because I do live on East, and everyone else does. Everything that happens on Week of Welcome is on Main.
And I live on East Campus, so getting over to Main and everything, it was like, I'm never going to be able to get this walk down.
I was really worried that I wouldn't make it to all my classes on time.
I didn't know what things were going to be like, and there was a lot of things that were kind of in the unknown at that point.
But after a while, it kind of like becomes second nature, like how to get there, how to do stuff. Like I could walk to the other side easily.
I know the campus a lot more. I know how to use the buses. I'm a lot more comfortable now, and it feels like home.
I've gotten a lot more familiarized with it. I like the campus very much. There's a lot of people I know here, and it's a very welcoming campus.
My dorm room's like my safe space. I love it so much. Everyone's just been really great and really helpful helping out with like that transition, and definitely Frog Week was also something that really helped kind of tone down the nerves, and it was just like, no, you guys are going to be okay.
You'll find friends, you'll find your way around campus, you'll know how to do stuff and how to like become more independent.
What advice would you give to future incoming freshmen? Don't show up is what Nessie said.
No, I know it's like really scary and you kind of just want to stay pulled up in your room, but just going out and like doing like activities with like your frog group, and even if you don't go to all of them, just go to some of them, and you'll, even if you never see those people again, you're gonna have so much fun, and it'll just help alleviate a lot of the anxiety that you'll have. I know so many people didn't show up to the Fogg Week events, but like I did, and I made some really good friends from the people who also participated.
I would say to make the most out of what you could do here, there's just so many opportunities.
Join stuff. Don't limit yourself to just like, I want to join one club and that's it, and those are my only friends, or I'm gonna stay in my room all day, I'm not gonna talk to anyone in my hall. My closest friends right now are people that live in the same building as me.
I would say try to talk to as many people as possible. It can be awkward at first, but once you remember that everybody is going to be awkward like that at first, it makes it a lot easier to talk. So.
And just remember to make the most out of your education as well.
Unfortunately, putting all your stuff in the room isn't the end of move-in. There's some things you'll need to do after. Whether you're moving into a dorm or a new apartment, you'll have to fill out some kind of questionnaire that gives you the chance to document any damages. This is known as the room condition form. which can be found in My Madison at the bottom of the Student Center. It's not in mine because I filled it out already, but it should be there for you. Like I said, make sure you remember what colored dot was on your mattress. I guess you could just lie if you don't remember. I don't know if there's consequences for filling it out wrong. You'll have to rate the different areas of your dorm, like the walls or the floor, for quality, and there's a space to list specific damage. I still recommend taking photos of anything just in case. You'll have 5 days after you move in to fill out the form. Another important thing you'll probably want to do as soon as possible is set up your Wi-Fi. JMU uses MyResNet through Apogee as its internet provider. There is a network called MyResNet Start Here, which will automatically bring you to the setup website. You should type in the address jmu.apogee.us and enter your JMU credentials to create an account. From there, you'll be given a password for the network, MyResNet 5G. You can change your password, but to be honest, I never did because I never had to re-log in. JMU has written out all these steps for you if you forget. The classroom buildings use a different Wi-Fi network. This network is called JMU Official Wireless. Your account name and password is your EID and whatever your EID password is. It's the same stuff you use to log into My Madison. If you don't see this network when you move in, don't panic, it's not available in the dorms. It'll pop up once you get into the classrooms, the libraries, or the dining halls.